In this video, we're going to be talking about adding and subtracting negative numbers. It's important when we think about adding and subtracting negative and positive numbers that we remember our number line. So I've drawn a number line up here, zeros in the middle, we'll have our positive numbers on the right and our negative numbers on the left. In our first problem, we have negative 4 plus 7. So we're going to work this problem out a little visually first just to understand what we're doing. So we start with negative 4. So that'd be like we are starting right here. And we are adding 7. So adding means we are going to the right, towards the positive numbers. So I want to go positively, so towards the right, 7 numbers. So what I'm going to do in this case is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My answer would be positive 3. Numerically, also, we can think of it as our negative numbers are boxes, and our positive numbers are x's. Positive will cancel out a negative and vice versa. So if we have 4 negatives, we can go ahead and add a positive x in each of those boxes. And then we can look and see what's left over. So when we've done that, we have 3 positives left over. So that's just a little visual of what we're going to be doing. So then we can go ahead, and if we have negative 10 minus 7. So we start out with 10 negatives, and we want 7 more negatives. So we have 2 sets of negative numbers in this problem. So what we're going to see with our number itself is going to get bigger, because if we're thinking about it, if we have negative 10 over here on the negative side of our number line on the left, we're just going to be going more left. So we're going to keep moving over. So in this case, we have 10 negatives, and we want 7 more negatives. What that's going to give us is if we have 10 boxes, and then we have 7 more negatives, so 7 more boxes, they're not going to cancel themselves out as they did with our last problem. Instead, if we count these, we have 17 negatives. You can also do that on the number line. I like the box example just because it's easy to do. It's easy to draw out real quick. So our next one is 38 plus negative 5. So again, let's think of this one. So we're starting out on the right side. We have a positive 38. So we're somewhere on the right side. And we are adding 5 negative numbers. So when we're going negative, we are going to the left. So as we go from the right to the left, our numbers themselves are getting smaller. So we're going to have a number that's smaller than this 38. Another way of writing 38 plus negative 5, this right here is the same thing. We have 38 positives, 5 negatives, so that means we are taking away 5 from that 38. So 38 minus 5 then becomes 33. So 38 plus negative 5 is 33. All right, so we have another one right here. We have negative 34 plus 50. Another way of thinking about positive and negative numbers is we know our answer is going to have the symbol of the bigger number. In this case, we know that 50 is bigger than 34. and it's positive 50, so we know our answer is going to be positive. From there, we know that these are going to cancel out. If we're thinking about our boxes and our x's, these numbers are fairly big, so we don't want to draw out 50 boxes and 34 x's. So what I'm going to do is I know that 34 are going to cancel out. So what I can do is I can take 34 away from 50. And what I'm left with is 16. So I know if we were to cancel those out, I would be left with 16 x's by themselves. And since I know my answer is positive, I know my answer is positive 16. Let's look at another one. So what if we had something like this? 48 minus negative 31. So when we have two negatives right next to each other, two negatives actually make a positive. You add a line, change the sign. Two negatives right next to each other are going to be a positive. So now we just have 48 plus 31. So now we have 79. Last one we have negative 8 minus negative 6. So again, this is similar to the last example. So what we're going to do, we have two negatives next to each other, so we're going to add a line, change the sign. So then we are left with negative 8 plus 6. So thinking again to some of our rules, the bigger number is 8 and it has a negative. So we know our answer is going to be negative. And we know that 6 are going to cancel out. So if we take 8 and subtract 6 from it, so 8 minus 6 is 2. So we know we're going to be left with 2. So then our answer is negative 2. So these are just a couple examples of how to add and subtract negative and positive numbers.